Have you ever wanted something really, really badly? Well, of course you have, and that's probably one of the reasons why you are watching this channel right now. So we manifestors and we conscious creators, we have something of a complicated relationship with desire because we want to want things, but sometimes wanting things doesn't feel good. So today I wanted to make a video on how we can overcome that and how we can make desire actually feel good and start to want things from a place of abundance. So if you want to find out how to do that, then be sure to keep watching. What's up, people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen. I am a spiritual life and business coach, and this is my YouTube channel. I'm so excited to have you here. This is where I create 2 new videos for you every single week, combining the arts of manifestation and mindset together in my own unique signature style. I do this because it is my belief that doing these 2 things together is the best way to create the life of your dreams. So if you are interested in up-leveling your life in every way, then you'll want to make sure that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you never miss a video. If you want to learn more about how to work with me, I do currently offer both life coaching and business coaching. So if you're looking to work with somebody one-on-one to help you up-level your life, then go ahead and drop me a DM over on Instagram. Or if you're looking to start a spiritual business and take it from 0 to 10K months, then I'm also someone that you'd want to talk to about that. So come on over and send me a DM. I'll leave a link in the description box below. So it is just a fact that as soon as you realize that there's something in your world that you desire, you also become fixated on the fact that you don't have it right now. So this puts us manifestors in kind of a weird position because we are always looking for that next thing that we want to bring into our world. And sometimes that doesn't feel very good. Sometimes it feels like we're sort of on this treadmill, always running towards something and never really making it where we want to go. So today I wanted to make a video that will clear this up and to help to get you back to feeling good about the things that you desire, because of course our feelings are so important to manifesting, and it is so important that you do this work from a place of love and abundance instead of fear and scarcity. So before we dive into the tips themselves, first I wanted to talk a little bit about desire. So desire is something that many of us have a very complicated relationship with. You know, many of us are from a Christian or conservative background. We're kind of given this impression that our desires were inherently evil or bad or wrong, and that if we wanted something that made us greedy or materialistic or something like that. So one of the first things that I like to teach when it comes to the world of manifestation is that we need to reprogram the way we feel about desire in the first place. So it is not wrong for a human to have a desire. And actually, I believe that many of our desires are part of our pathway. They're part of our spiritual purpose here, because we are all given things in this life that we are attracted to. And the things that we are attracted to in particular are different than the things that other people we know are attracted to, right? So we need to listen to what our soul is craving, and we need to kind of follow those desires and see where they lead us. And that doesn't always mean that every single desire we have is necessarily going to be fulfilled or that it is going to become a real part of our world. But this is kind of the spiritual pathway leading us forward. So when you take a step and you learn something new about yourself, then that opens up a whole bunch of new doors to you, right? And then the next step and the next step and the next step. And then that will often take you to somewhere that you could never have imagined. So if you have this complicated relationship with desire and you're kind of downplaying your desires at all times and trying to pretend that they don't exist, or thinking that they're not important, or that thinking that giving into them is going to mean that you are greedy or evil somehow, then you are going to be missing out on one of the best ways that we can get in touch with our soul purpose. So the first thing that I want to give you as part of this video today is to start embracing your desires and to start embracing this idea of having these desires as being a good thing. These desires aren't here to tempt you. They're not here to lead you off your path. They are just part of who you are and what you are meant to explore. With that, I will say that there is actually a difference between the kind of temporary pleasure desires and the long-term gratification desires, but that's another topic for another video. But what I'm really talking about here is the more longer-term desires, like maybe this desire you've had since you were a kid to become an artist or something like that. Those are the desires that are important to listen to. Some of our impulse instincts are not, but it's really up to you to start to learn how to figure out the difference between the two and to really start to lean into the things that are, you know, part of your fabric, part of your very being. Again, if you start to think of these things as being part of your purpose, and part of a way for you to figure out more about yourself and what you're doing here on this planet, then they become exciting to explore. They're not things that we have to feel weird about. They're not things we have to feel heavy about. And they can become, you know, just like I said, part of your spiritual pathway, something that is leading you forward to exactly where you were meant to go. Okay, the second thing I wanted to talk today about with regards to desire and how we can start to make desire feel good for us is that many times we automatically put the things that we want in life up on a pedestal. So we'll create some sort of weird fantasy, weird perfectionist fantasy that goes around achieving something. So one of the ones that I've seen come up from people many times before is that many women have this fantasy that they're going to get married, and that after that, you know, they're never going to feel self-doubt, or they're never going to feel lonely, or they're never going to, you know, feel any of these human emotions ever again. Which, if you can go ahead and ask any married person in your world if that's true, you will find out is completely not true. But when we start to create these unrealistic fantasies around the things that we want, we actually end up repelling the things that we want. We make them seem way more unattainable, and then that just starts to create resistance within us because we have this incredible weird story about what they're going to mean, and of course our reality is never going to match up to that story in our brain. So that means even when you start to get the things that you want, they're still not making you feel the way you thought they would. So the key to rectifying that, as I always tell everybody in these videos, is that we have the power to create any emotion we want at any time that we want. And in fact, one of the ways that I teach manifestation is to kind of figure out how to feel the way that you want to feel before you get the thing. So if you're busy creating this perfectionist fantasy, of course, it's going to be difficult to manifest that because your current reality is never going to be like that. You are never going to feel like that. There's always going to be self-doubt. There's always going to be bad days. But the point isn't to live a perfect life, because nobody on this planet has a perfect life, not even Beyonce. So we need to learn how to pinpoint the feeling that we actually want, not the perfectionist fantasy, and we need to start figuring out how to get it now. And actually, once you start to do that, and then you realize that you are actually the emotional gatekeeper and that you have the power to give yourself everything in the world that you could ever desire, then that actually takes away the importance that you're putting on your goal, and it will help you manifest it faster. And it'll also help you to feel better in the process, because you don't have to wait until you cross this arbitrary finish line in order to feel the things that you want to feel. So if you're doing this on any level, if you're thinking that once you graduate from university, life is going to be so much easier, or if you're thinking that once you have this much money in the bank, you know, you'll feel better about yourself, or that once this person asks you out, then you're going to suddenly feel confident, you are barking up the wrong tree, and you are making things more difficult, and you're making probably yourself feel worse in the meantime, because you think that you can't have that feeling now. So you need to work on having that feeling now. You need to work on creating that thing now. And actually, that's the backwards way to manifest the thing that you want in the end anyway. So go ahead and play with that, and remember that you are always in charge of your feelings. Okay, so the third and final tip I wanted to give you today on how to make desire feel good is to learn how to want things from a place of abundance, not a place of scarcity. So I kind of touched on this already. But what this would look like is that instead of being like, oh, you know, I only make this much money, and when I make $5,000 more a month, then I'm going to feel wealthy and abundant. That is wanting from a place of scarcity, because you're basically saying that I can't feel the way I want to feel until I cross this arbitrary finish line. So when you want something from a place of abundance, it is allowing you to fully enjoy and fully appreciate where you are right now. That's the part people get stuck on. I'll get back to that in a second. But that means that you are really happy and joyous about where you are at, and you still want something more, right? That means that you get to be happy and you get to desire something and you get to enjoy the whole experience of creating it, instead of thinking that just because you desire something, you can't be happy now. Okay, so the thing that comes up here, I know what people are going to say is that, well, I'm not happy now with my love life or my bank account or my career or whatever it is. But I want you to start to work on rethinking that and reframing that so that you can come to your life from a place of love. If we can figure out how to be grateful for what we already have, that is such a powerful way to magnetize even more stuff into our life, right? So I'm going to use money as an example. So if you get a paycheck every month, and every paycheck that you get, you look at it and think, ugh, there's not enough here. I know why that might happen, right? That might happen because you think you're not getting paid enough. But what are you really telling money? And what is the money vibe that you're putting out there? You are not being grateful for what you have, and you're probably creating blocks about how more money can come into your life. Whereas if you can be grateful and happy for what you do have, even if it's not ultimately, if ultimately you need more, that's okay, but you can still be happy for what you have now. So that would be, getting the paycheck, and maybe it's quote unquote not enough, but being happy about it anyway, and being thankful that it's here, and being grateful that it exists, right? And still wanting more. Do you see the difference there? Being happy in the moment, being grateful for what you have, that is abundance, and that is wanting things and creating desire from a place of abundance. When we're locked into scarcity, again, that's all the scarcity thinking is all about fear. It is all about never having enough. It is all about thinking that we can't have what we want at this moment and that we have to wait to feel good. And none of that stuff is actually going to help you manifest. And it feels terrible. It feels absolutely terrible. So I want you to be really honest with yourself right now. If you are trying to manifest something right now, but you're creating this story in your brain about how your life is going to be perfect when you get there, and that you can't feel good until you get there, what would it feel like if you reframed that? What would it feel like to be really happy with enjoying your single life and enjoying your freedom and still desiring a boyfriend? What would it be like to be grateful for the money in your bank account and still desiring more? It doesn't have to be one or the other. We tricked ourselves into thinking that, if we want more, we have to be unhappy with where we are. And that isn't true. We can look at where we are right now, understand that we need to change it, know what we want to change it to, and still be grateful for where we are and show up in our life for that, for what it is, and appreciate that for what it is, right? That is completely different than thinking that you have to suffer now because you want something else. You do not need to suffer. And this idea that we have to suffer because we're not perfect yet, or because we're not there yet, or because, we can't relax until this and that happens, that is actually what's keeping you down. That is actually what's hurting you, and that is actually what's pushing your manifestations away. So go out there, try this, try wanting from a place of abundance, and see how much better you feel about the process of desiring something, and also watch how much faster things come into your world. Okay, that's it for today's video. What did you think about that? I really hope that you take these 3 tips and apply them to your manifesting, and I really hope that you can overcome any weirdness or ickiness that you might have around your desires. Again, it's so important to look at the process. It is really hard to create a good result out of a process that doesn't feel good. So how can you start feeling good about your desires? How can you start creating good energy around those instead of a feeling of a lack? So those are super important questions, and if you can come up with another answer for those, I would love to hear it. If you watched all the way to the end, I would love it if you would go ahead and leave a comment in the box below. If you write, I love my desires, I would love to just see who's watched this far in the video. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you like this video, please give me a like. If you want to watch more, you can watch the latest up here. If you want to learn more, you can come on over to my site. I have a free manifestation planner for you to download over there. It's super cool. It's brand new. Come on over and grab yours. Other than that, I'm wishing you an amazing week. I'll see you soon. And as always, just remember, get ready for the miracle. See you guys.